If you've been paying attention to the news, you'd know that the Australian dollar has been going through some rough patches lately. We need to find out what's going on and what it means for Australia. There have been some of the biggest changes in the value of the Australian dollar in recent years, and it's important to know why this is happening and what it means for Australia and the world economy. So, without further ado, let's get started. It wasn't too long when the AUD fell to a low of US 63 cents, which hasn't been seen since the height of the global financial crisis. Even if we don't count the chaos of the early COVID outbreak, this is a very unusual drop. Aussies are always interested to see how their currency does against the strong dollar, but it's also important to know that the AUD is losing value against other currencies, such as the euro and the pound. Why does this matter so much, you might ask? For starters, most of Australia's exports are goods that are paid in US dollars. This makes the AUD to USD exchange rate a very important part of Australia's trade. The US dollar is often used as a standard when people talk about money. The strength or weakness of the dollar affects trade around the world, the prices of goods, and how much other currencies are worth. It's true that the Australian dollar, AUD, can be affected by the US dollar, which is the world's main reserve currency. Australia has always been affected by the changes in the US economy, whether it is doing well or not. This was seen during the financial collapse of 2008. When the US home bubble burst, there was a deep recession around the world. In answer to these pressures from around the world, the AUD fell sharply before quickly rising again. This is proof of how events in the US have a big effect on the Australian economy and currency. So let's look at what's making the Australian dollar drop so quickly. But before we rush in, if you like our content, don't forget to show your support by subscribing to our channel. It means a lot to us. So, coming back to the topic, the very first thing that makes a difference is how strong the US economy is. Because the US Federal Reserve might decide to raise its important interest rates, investors are moving their money from Australia to the US dollar. At the same time, the Reserve Bank of Australia decided to keep its rates the same. This decision was largely based on economic data, such as slow pay growth and rising unemployment rates. The current situation in Australia and the possible rise in interest rates in the US makes investors less interested in each other. China is the next one. A lot of people are surprised by how slowly the economy has recovered after the harsh COVID-19 lockdowns. Because of their large trade with China, countries like Australia and New Zealand often use their currencies as indicators of how well China's economy is doing. China has the most people and the second largest economy in the world, making it an economic giant. The AUD and other global currencies are deeply affected by Australia's economic strategies, growth rates, and trade balances. There is a strong economic link between Australia and China, mostly because of the trade in goods. Australia has huge amounts of coal, iron ore, and natural gas reserves that China heavily relies on to power its huge industry sectors and growing cities. That is to say, if China's demand for these goods changes, or its economy changes in general, it will have a direct effect on the Australian dollar. And since China's comeback isn't going as smoothly as expected, it's not a surprise that the Australian dollar is weak. Ray Attrell from NAB and other top foreign exchange experts have been keeping a close eye on things. There is a lot of volatility in the forex market, though, so expectations can change quickly. The AUD might reach the psychological level of 60 US cents, but this isn't a sure thing that will happen. Other global factors are also having an effect on AUD's success. In order to boost their export business, countries like Japan, China, and South Korea are letting their currencies fall in value. Since Japan has been fighting deflation for years, a lower yen has caused prices to rise. A similar plan might work out well for China. What's the silver lining here, one might ask? In fact, there are several ways a weaker currency can help a business. One example is that products start to compete with each other more and more. International buyers can get Australian goods and services for less money. This could make more people want to buy, which would boost growth in the trading sector. The tourism business would also get a huge boost. When tourists come to Australia, their money goes further, which could lead to more spending and a boost for the tourism business. This has been clear in the past, when falls in the AUD led to a lot of tourists from other countries, which was good for local businesses and the economy as a whole. A weaker dollar isn't all bad news for Australian exporters though. At this point, it might be a good idea to turn US dollar gains back to Australian dollars. Also, tourists from other countries, like those here for the World Cup, may find that their money goes further, which makes them want to spend more. Of course, there are some problems, like the cost of importing. Costs will go up for businesses that depend on imported items or raw materials. This could cause prices to go up for customers and possibly cause inflationary pressures. In the same way, foreign debt goes down when the exchange rate goes down. If the country owes money in foreign currencies, a weaker home currency can make it more expensive to pay back those loans. On the other hand, shippers may be getting ready. Costs will go through the roof if you bring in expensive goods from places like Italy. But if your goods come from China, where the currency is moving in a way that is similar to Australia's, it might not have much of an effect. John Maynard Keynes, an economist, said something very important in this situation. Markets can often stay irrational longer than one's liquidity. The AUD's current fall is part of a larger pattern that has been seen since 2011. In the past, China's economic growth and Australia's currency have worked well together. The Australian dollar, on the other hand, changes value when China's growth path changes. The difference between the US and China is at the heart of this situation. The US is regaining its industrial power, and its broad and self-sufficient economy is growing. At the same time, Australia has taken a different approach, focusing on population growth through immigration over economic growth. For the most part, Australia is seeing a paradox. For every extra person, the economy is growing less quickly because there are more of them. When labor is cheap and easy to find, why put money into processes that work well? So what's the endgame here? China's economic problems aren't over yet, and the property and building markets could go down. The US, on the other hand, seems set for even more growth thanks to its strengths in technology and AI. The AUD's future will definitely be shaped by how these two giants interact with each other. The falling value of the Australian dollar forces Australia to diversify its industries, but the strategies in place now seem to be more focused on population growth. How low does the AUD have to go before major changes happen? This is the most important question. So, the path of the Australian dollar is affected by many things, such as global economic policies, the interactions between superpowers, and choices made in Australia. As things go on, the AUD will continue to be a measure of how these complicated threads are intertwined. For similar content, feel free to have a look at some of the other videos on your screen